Tonight, an American hero was reduced to a shipping label. The remains of Marine Corporal Jake Reynolds were set to be mailed home, like an Amazon package. But one man said, "Hell no." Mary Reynolds sat on her couch, her hands trembling as she unfolded a letter. Her eyes, red from hours of crying, scanned the words again, as if hoping they'd somehow change. "Due to logistical challenges, your son's remains will be delivered via standard mail." The paper shook in her grip. Her son had given everything for this country, and this was how they sent him home? Not in a flag-draped casket with honor. Not with the dignity he deserved. Just another parcel in the system. Across the country, a single tweet ignited outrage. A military veteran posted a screenshot of the letter with a caption that cut like a knife. "Disgraceful. This Marine should be honored, not shipped like cargo." At Elon Musk, "You see this?" Within hours, the tweet exploded. 200,000 retweets, a flood of furious comments, and one name being tagged again and again: Elon Musk. Somewhere in the sky, Musk sat in his private jet, scrolling through his phone. His expression hardened as he read the tweet. His fingers flew across the screen, firing back two words that sent the internet into a frenzy. Hell no. He lowered his phone, his decision made. "Turn this jet around," he told the pilot, his voice steady and cold. "We're fixing this. Now." The next morning, every major news outlet had picked up the story. But instead of outrage at the system, something strange happened. The narrative was shifting. A polished morning show set gleamed under bright studio lights. Behind the news desk, two anchors, Ryan Calloway and Jennifer Reeves, sat with carefully rehearsed expressions of concern. They weren't here to expose the failure of the system. They were here to reframe the story. In today's top headlines, Ryan began, folding his hands neatly on the desk. Tech billionaire Elon Musk has inserted himself into yet another controversy, this time over the military's standard protocol for transporting remains. Jennifer nodded, setting up the real angle they wanted to push. Some experts are calling his response reckless and uninformed, arguing that these procedures are in place for a reason. A large screen behind them lit up with a headline: Elon Musk versus the military, grandstanding or genuine concern. The message was clear. This wasn't about a fallen Marine anymore. It was about Musk. The cameras cut to their guest for the segment, Colonel David Lasker, a Pentagon spokesperson. The moment his face appeared on screen, the trap was set. "Colonel," Jennifer started, tilting her head with faux sincerity. "Elon Musk seems to believe he knows better than the United States military. How do you respond to that?" Lasker smirked. He was ready. "With all due respect to Mr. Musk, national defense isn't a PR stunt. These protocols exist because we operate on a scale he can't possibly understand." Ryan jumped in, voice smooth but firm. "So you're saying Musk's intervention could actually disrupt proper procedure?" "It's not just possible, it's irresponsible," Lasker replied, shaking his head. "We don't let billionaires dictate military operations just because they don't like the optics." The segment was unfolding exactly as planned. Instead of holding the system accountable, the focus had been flipped. Now, Musk was the problem. The military was just following procedure. The anchors exchanged knowing glances, sensing the shift in the public discourse. Then came the cherry on top. "Colonel," Jennifer continued, "a source has told us that Musk's interference may have actually delayed the process, making it harder for the family to receive their son's remains. Can you confirm?" Lasker's hesitation was barely noticeable, but just enough to sell the lie. "I can't confirm specifics, but any disruption to protocol carries risks." The damage was done. The soundbite would be everywhere. The camera cut back to Ryan, who turned to face the audience. A tragic situation, made worse by reckless interference. Coming up, should billionaires stay in their lane? We'll hear from experts after the break. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, a producer grinned. The headlines were already being prepped. Elon Musk made it worse. They had set the stage. Now, all they had to do was let the outrage machine do its job. The studio lights blazed bright, illuminating the sleek news desk where five panelists sat, ready to feast. Across from them, Elon Musk leaned back in his chair, expression unreadable. The air crackled with manufactured tension, the kind producers prayed for, ratings gold. At the center of it all was Jonathan Pierce, the show's host, a seasoned media shark with a velvet voice and a knife behind every smile. He adjusted his tie, turning to the camera. Tonight, we discuss the controversy surrounding billionaire Elon Musk's reckless intervention in military affairs. Did he help, or did he make things worse? A giant screen behind them flashed the headline: Elon Musk, hero or chaos agent? The audience murmured, some supportive, most skeptical. The setup had worked. Pierce turned to Musk. Elon, let's cut through the noise. A mother lost her son, a tragedy we all sympathize with. But the military has standard procedures for a reason. Do you believe you know better than the Pentagon? Musk's fingers tapped the table once. He glanced at Pierce, then the other panelists, each one ready to jump in at the first sign of hesitation. I believe Corporal Reynolds deserved to be brought home with dignity, not stuffed into a cardboard box. Gasps from the audience. A woman on the panel, Dr. Evelyn Carter, a political analyst, scoffed. Oh, come on. You're simplifying a complex system to play the hero. A system that mails fallen soldiers like lost luggage. Musk shot back, eyes locked on hers. Pierce smirked, ready to strike. Hold on, let's be factual. The remains were to be transported in accordance with military logistics, the same way countless other brave soldiers have been returned home. You're suggesting the entire system is broken. Musk leaned forward. If the system allows this to happen, then yes, it is broken. Shuffling in the audience. Someone coughed. Others whispered. The temperature in the room shifted, but the panel wasn't going to let it happen. A third panelist, Mark Whitmore, an ex-State Department official, let out a dry laugh. You're a billionaire, Elon. You don't do logistics. You don't do national security. You build rockets and cars. This is out of your depth. Pierce grinned, cutting Musk off before he could reply. And let's not forget, according to our sources, your interference actually delayed the transfer of Corporal Reynolds' remains. His mother had to wait longer because of you. A loud murmur swept through the crowd. The panelists exchanged quick glances. There it was. The turning point they needed. Musk's jaw tensed. That's a lie. Pierce tilted his head, faux innocence dripping from his tone. Is it? Because Pentagon officials say otherwise. Unnamed officials. Musk corrected. Anonymous sources. That's journalism code for "we made it up." Scattered laughs from the audience. But Pierce didn't miss a beat. So you're saying multiple military officials are lying, and you, the billionaire with no military experience, know better? Whitmore chuckled. Classic Musk. He thinks rules don't apply to him. Dr. Carter sighed. Exactly. This is what we see time and time again. Rich men inserting themselves into situations they don't understand because they think money equals expertise. The audience chuckled. A few claps. The momentum was shifting against Musk, exactly as planned. Pierce turned back to Musk, his voice smooth. I think what people really want to know is, why this soldier? Why this situation? Is it because it went viral? Because it made for a good Twitter moment? The words landed like a slap. Musk's fingers stopped tapping. His eyes, calculating and cold, locked onto Pierce's. You want the real reason, he said. Pierce leaned in slightly, the predator sensing his moment. Please, enlighten us. Musk let the silence stretch, making them wait. Then, his voice came, steady and controlled. Because if it were your son, you'd be furious too. The audience hushed. No one had expected that. Musk turned to face the camera directly. If it was your brother, your best friend, someone you loved, and the government's best idea was to slap a shipping label on their casket and send them through FedEx. A flicker of discomfort crossed Pierce's face, but he recovered fast. That's emotional manipulation, not policy. Musk ignored him, still addressing the audience. But because it's not your family, you're comfortable with standard procedures. Because it's just another name on a list. Another package in transit. The audience shifted again. The balance was tilting, but the panel wasn't done. Dr. Carter rolled her eyes. This is exactly why you shouldn't be involved. You don't operate on facts. You operate on feelings. Musk turned to her, his voice like steel. And you operate on scripts. The crowd gasped. Pierce jumped in, his tone harder now. All right, Elon, let's be real. You didn't do this out of the goodness of your heart. You did it because you love attention. Musk smirked, knowing the trap had finally been revealed. And yet, here you are, talking about me. Silence. Even Pierce didn't have a comeback. The panelists exchanged quick looks. The control they'd had minutes ago was slipping. Musk leaned back again, as if daring them to try and take it back. The moment Elon Musk walked off the set, the internet ignited like a powder keg. Within seconds, the first clips hit Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Musk eviscerating the panel, Musk exposing the network's corporate ties, Musk offering $5 million to veterans while the so-called experts fumbled. The hashtags were relentless. Small Blue Diamond # Musk exposed the media, trending #1 worldwide. Small Blue Diamond # corporate shills panic. Small Blue Diamond # veterans deserve respect. Small Blue Diamond # Musk was right. The show's official Twitter account attempted damage control, posting a clipped segment where Jonathan Pierce claimed Musk was reckless. It backfired spectacularly. Every reply was a fact check, a meme, or outright mockery. At the real Kane. Pierce. Musk just throws money at problems. Also Pierce. Screenshot of network's $300 million ad deals with defense contractors. At Patriot Veteran 45. Elon walked away like a boss while these frauds sat there dumbfounded. This wasn't an interview. It was an execution. At Lexa Leverage. Love him or hate him, Musk put his money where his mouth is. What did the panel do? Nothing. Just empty words. Clips flooded every corner of social media. On YouTube, independent creators uploaded breakdowns with titles like Elon Musk destroys corporate media live and media tries to set Musk up, fails miserably. Each racked up millions of views in hours. Meanwhile, inside the studio, panic set in. Producers scrambled to edit the interview for their primetime rebroadcast, trying to salvage what they could. The control room was in chaos. The executive producer barked orders. Cut the part where he asks about defense contractor money. Find anything that makes him look bad. But it was too late. The raw, uncut footage was already out there. Then, the sponsors started calling. One by one, major advertisers distanced themselves from the network. Small Blue Diamond, Lockhart and Finn Insurance. We do not condone biased journalism and are reviewing our partnership with the network. Small Blue Diamond, Northwest Tech. As a company that values truth and integrity, we are suspending all advertising with the show. Small Blue Diamond, Omega Auto Group. Due to the controversial nature of last night's broadcast, we are pulling all future ad placements. Pierce himself received a direct call from the network's president. The conversation was brief and brutal. Fix this. Pierce tried to push back. Musk set us up. You set yourself up, the voice snapped. He walked out looking like a hero. You look like a corporate puppet. Now advertisers are walking. Fix it. By now, the controversy had left the internet and entered the real world. Political figures started weighing in, some seizing the moment, others scrambling for cover. Small Blue Diamond Senator Jake Holloway, TX, Musk shouldn't have had to step in. The way our fallen heroes are treated is a disgrace. The system failed, and people are mad because he called it out. Small Blue Diamond Representative Linda Vaughn, NY, this isn't about Musk. This is about a government that lost its way. Our military families deserve better. Small Blue Diamond former Secretary of Defense Richard Langley. I don't always agree with Musk, but is absolutely right on this. The bureaucratic red tape in how we treat our fallen is shameful. News outlets that initially ignored the story had no choice but to cover it now. The narrative was everywhere. Elon Musk versus the media. Who's telling the truth? CNN. Did the network sabotage Musk? Here's what we know, NBC. The $5 million offer that exposed the system, Fox News. Jonathan Pierce, now fully aware his reputation was at stake, took to Twitter with a damage control statement. Our discussion with Mr. Musk was intended to provide a balanced view of a complex issue. It's unfortunate that some have taken it out of context. We remain committed to journalism based on facts and integrity. The response? Brutal. At Jack the Truth. Pierce. We remain committed to journalism. Also Pierce. Cut his MIC. Edit the clip. At Laura Vets Matter. Balance? You invited him on just to gang up on him. Then he embarrassed you. Own it. At NotAbot 2024. Some have taken it out of context equals we're losing the public. Please stop bullying us. The tweet became one of the most ridiculed posts of the year. Even the Babylon Bee ran a headline. Man who got humiliated on TV claims it was out of context. By late evening, the network's executives held an emergency meeting. The damage was worse than expected. Sponsors were fleeing. Public sentiment was overwhelmingly pro-Musk. and Pierce was now a national joke. One executive laid it out bluntly. We can't afford to have a host who gets outperformed by a guest. Another suggested a public apology. Pierce refused. If we cave, Musk wins. He already won, someone muttered. Just before midnight, Musk dropped one last tweet that buried the network for good. At Elon Musk, all I wanted was for a Marine to get the respect he deserved. The media made it about me. Now, the people have spoken. Good night. 1.2 million likes in 30 minutes. Game over. The fallout from the disastrous interview wasn't just a media circus. It was the beginning of a war. By the next morning, Musk's legal team had already drafted a lawsuit. Not against the host. Not against the panel. Against the entire network. The lawsuit was brutal and surgical. Defamation, fraudulent misrepresentation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Musk wasn't just suing over the hit piece they tried to pull. He was suing over the systemic corruption that had allowed it to happen. But what really set the world on fire wasn't the lawsuit itself. It was the leaks. Less than 12 hours after the interview, an anonymous whistleblower, later revealed to be a disgruntled producer, sent an email to multiple news outlets. Attached was an audio recording from inside the control room. It was damning. Producer 1. Okay, so if Musk pivots to military funding, we cut his MIC. Got it. Producer 2. Yeah, we have an ad break lined up just in case. Make it look organic. Executive producer. If he starts talking about corporate donations, I want a graphic ready that makes it look like he's exaggerating. We control the frame, not him. It was everything the public suspected but had never heard confirmed. The media wasn't just biased, it was scripted. The clip hit Twitter first. Views in 10 minutes. Million in 30. By noon, it was playing on every major network, except, of course, the one being sued. Underscore 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 underscore. The first whistleblower was just the start. Within hours, 2 more former employees of the network, one an ex-senior producer, the other a script coordinator, went public. Small Blue Diamond Leah Carter, former senior producer. This network has been controlling narratives for years. Guests are prepped to fail. Questions are designed to provoke. Editing manipulates reality. Small Blue Diamond Mark Weston, ex-script coordinator. We were literally given scripts on how to frame guests as extremists, even when they weren't. Musk's interview? That was a hit job from the start. At this point, the network's credibility was in free fall. It wasn't just about Musk anymore. It was about every guest they had ever manipulated. The #network leaks hashtag exploded. People started digging into past interviews. Clips resurfaced of guests getting their mics cut, being ambushed with unrelated topics, and being framed with deceptive editing. Then came the biggest bombshell. A high-ranking insider, still working at the network, sent a leaked contract to independent journalist Ryan Calloway. It was a sponsorship agreement between the network and 3 major defense contractors. The terms? $85 million in annual ad revenue. Priority news coverage on military spending needs. Agreement to frame critics of military budgets as uninformed or unpatriotic. This wasn't just media bias. This was corporate-funded propaganda. The internet detonated. Exposed the network. Holy. They were literally paid to frame people like Musk as anti-military. At Journalist X, this is beyond bias. This is corporate-backed disinformation. At Marine Mom 84, my son died for this country. Now I find out they're using his memory to push defense contracts. I am sick. The network went dark. Literally. For the first time in 20 years, the network canceled its highest-rated primetime program. No explanation. No statement. Just a blank time slot. Speculation ran wild. Was the network preparing a defense? Were they about to fire Pierce? Or was this the beginning of the end? Just as the dust seemed to be settling, Musk dropped another bomb. On a live Twitter space with 3 million listeners, he announced, "I'm not just suing them. I'm funding every veteran or whistleblower who's been slandered by corporate media. If they've done this to me, Imagine what they've done to people without my resources. The response was nuclear. People flooded the space with personal stories of media betrayal. Veterans who had been misrepresented. Whistleblowers whose voices had been silenced. Families who lost loved ones and were fed corporate lies. Musk ended with a final, chilling line. They wanted a war. Fine. Let's see how they handle one. The lawsuit? It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about exposing the entire machine. The fallout was unavoidable and merciless. By the next morning, the network stock had plummeted 32% in pre-market trading. Investors were panicking. Sponsors were pulling out en masse. And the board of directors? They were scrambling for damage control. But there was no controlling this. The leaked recordings, the whistleblower testimonies, the $85 million defense contractor deal. It had all created an unstoppable tidal wave of public outrage. And then came the final blow. Multiple outlets confirmed it at once. The network's parent company had just fired the CEO. Piers Henderson, the host who tried to ambush Musk, was officially suspended. The network's primetime slot was being restructured indefinitely. They weren't admitting guilt. They never do. But the message was clear. They were trying to distance themselves from the disaster. Too late. As if the chaos wasn't bad enough, a bipartisan committee announced an official investigation into media collusion with defense contractors. Small Blue Diamond were networks taking money to push war narratives. Small Blue Diamond, how many guests had been deceptively edited? Small Blue Diamond, was this a systemic issue across multiple media companies? By midday, subpoenas were already being drafted. For the first time in decades, the media wasn't just reporting the news. They were the news. While the network burned, Musk was already on the offensive. He wasn't just winning the lawsuit. He was weaponizing it. At a surprise press conference, standing beside veterans, whistleblowers, and media reform advocates, Musk announced his next move. They thought they could silence the truth. Instead, they amplified it. He laid out his plan. Small Blue Diamond, a $100 million fund for whistleblowers exposing media corruption. Small Blue Diamond, legal assistance for veterans and families misrepresented by the press. Small Blue Diamond, a new independent media initiative to counter corporate narratives. The room erupted. Musk wasn't just fighting back. He was changing the battlefield. Just when it seemed like the network couldn't sink lower, the final bombshell dropped. The FCC was opening an official review of the network's broadcast license. Translation? They were at risk of losing their right to air. This wasn't just about one interview gone wrong. This was about decades of corruption coming to light. By nightfall, the network had gone from a media powerhouse to a crippled, leaderless shell. The CEO? Fired. The host? Disgraced. The board? Under investigation. The advertisers? Gone. And Musk? Stronger than ever. Musk didn't gloat. He didn't need to. He simply posted one final tweet. Rocket, the truth has no price. Attached was a clip from the interview. The moment when he flipped the script, when the crowd turned on the host, when the entire house of cards began to collapse. Views in an hour. Million by morning. The message was clear. They tried to take him down. Now, they were the ones being erased. If you care about the truth, share this video.